So you touched on the how you found the people, but what do you think the ninth appeals to so many people of different classes and cultures and geographically? I mean, all over the world, really.
One of the reasons why the ninth appeals to so many people is its fundamental idealism. Certainly in the final movement, the Ode to Joy, where Beethoven used Friedrich Schiller's poem to say to the world, even in the midst of his own despair, that he could overcome it. And as it says in the work, there's a kiss for all the world, alle Menschen werden Brüder, that all people will become brothers, all people will become one. And idealism always needs to be revived. It's always threatened. And it's not a sentimental idealism, but a realistic one, a realization that of course we always need to have this utopian impulse in a way that Beethoven articulated in the Ninth Symphony, that the world's always in need of repair.
Mm.
And the Ninth Symphony, it repairs. It repairs by its beauty, by its enormous power to take us to places we've never been. So it's always going to be here. As I say, it's an eternal piece, a piece of art.
I love that. The ninth repairs by its beauty. That's awesome. Can you? Let's see. So you got that. Now, once you decided to start shooting this film and making this film, can you tell us about some of the experiences you had making the film? And let's start in Japan. What did you find?
Well, the film making the film has been a journey for me. A wonderful journey, just as the symphony itself is a journey through the many sides of human life and human emotions. So doing any kind of art like this, it takes a long time. It involves moments of despair, moments of joy, moments of happiness and connection with people. And so the film has taken me and the people that have worked with me all over the world, and it's interesting to find that in different countries, of course, cultures, different peoples are going to adopt this music in a different way. In Japan, for example, there's this wondrous appropriation of this symphony as a part of Japanese culture, and you'd think it would, wow, with this German piece of music, a German composer, now they've made him, Beethoven, in this ninth piece their own in some odd way, which is hard to figure out sometimes. But there are these people that sing this music, and it's mostly in Japan, it's mostly about the fourth movement with the chorus, sometimes 5,000, sometimes 10 people singing, and people taking and putting notes in their pockets when they go up to sing the chorus about what they've done this year, what they regret, what they want to do the following year. It's all done in December, by the way, hundreds of times across Japan, from elementary schools to the best orchestras in the country. But it's just this fascinating embracing of this symphony in a way that no other country in the world has done. Hundreds of performances, people collectively, a collective embrace of this piece of music that's amazing to see and difficult sometimes to figure out. But the people we met in Japan were just, of course, wonderfully accommodating and in some ways wonderfully interesting in their relationship to this music. Because obviously it means something important to Japanese people, but it's hard to tell if it's somewhat of a way to speak sometimes scream, even to yell this music, to sing it in the context of a collective thing called the chorus. So it's a fascinating phenomenon and a wonderful thing to watch.
What was the name of that guy that the writer that we met and interviewed him in the park? The guy that said when the people kept crossing.
Wasserman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forget his first name.
David?
Is it David Wasserman?
Professor Wasserman?
Yeah. I mean, there's a scholar, a French scholar, who's written about the daiku, as it's called in Japan, the Great Nine, and he was pointing out that Japan has gone through this. The last 100 years has gone through an assault of Western culture. I mean, it's been occupied by the United States, suffered a humiliating defeat in World War II, but a confrontation, or not both a confrontation and an embracing of Western culture. And also at the same time that Japan has gone through this enormous transformation, socially, economically, from a rural society to an urban one, a very urban one, in a very short amount of time. So it's obviously anytime you get that kind of churn going on, where the changes are quick and powerful, you're going to have some interesting things take place. And maybe, as he pointed out, this is a place where the lost connections that came with rural life, face-to-face interaction, solid family life, community life, is being embraced within this symphony, within this performing of this symphony, because it brings people together. For 6 months they practice the singing, they come together in groups, and they get to know people that they hadn't known before, they get to connect with people that they hadn't connected with before, and they do it in this act of solidarity with this music, and I think with each other. And then the performance in December just caps it all off in front of their families, in front of their neighbors, in front of the people that they have told to come see them, hear them sing. So it's an interesting, you might see it that way, as a sort of a response to a certain alienation that's gone on in Japan for the last many years, many decades.
And then, so you did Japan, and then you went to Chile.
And then
Can you tell us a little bit about
the trip to Chile was really magical, in the best sense of the word, where you're going someplace, and anyone who has ever done a film like this, a documentary where you always have these fears that something's going to happen, things are not going to work out, there are absolutely going to be glitches. But the whole, and you never can anticipate what the positive things that will happen. You always know that they will happen, but you can never really anticipate what they will be and what form they will come. But in Chile, it was magical, meeting people at 3 a.m. in Valparaiso, Valpo as they call it. People at a prison that had been, now was turned into a former prison, turned into an art, an art studio, not necessarily a studio, but a place where artists performed. At 3 a.m. meeting witches that knew the Ninth Symphony, or the Himno de Alegría, as it was turned into a pop song down there, knew the words, sang it with us. Wondrous thing, just turning one way instead of turning another, coming across these individuals that knew this music, meeting a trumpeter from Cuba who knew the song and played it on the streets. Heading south into the most beautiful part of Chile, that where the landscape turns to waterfalls and mountains and volcanoes, and heading into Chiloé, a more rural area where traditional music, traditional culture is preserved to this day, and coming across a fishing village on a dirt road when the sun was coming down, and taking hours to come down in the evening, so far south in the southern hemisphere, and meeting there a group of people that were performing traditional music, but also knew the song that was based on the Ninth Symphony, Himno a la Alegría, the Song of Joy, and played it for us in their home. All of these magical, wonderful experiences that no one could anticipate, none of us could anticipate, but just utterly stunning in their beauty and connection across obstacles of language, obstacles of culture, crossed boundaries pretty nicely.
Is that the kids?
Yeah, that's.
The little ones.
Let me.
You
You
want
can
to take a break?
let me just tell them that we're recording, and here's